Dad's compressor, Mitchell's compressor.
Somebody's compensating. Hey guys, welcome back. So today, this Sunday, we're going to try to get the dashboard and the midget done. As you can see, got pretty overtime holes, a bunch of holes. Ryan made an aluminum dash for it. That kind of puts everything where we want. We do have some problems with getting that in. We're going to correct all that today. But over on this side of the garage, that's the dwarf car that I ran for years. Mitchell's bought that dwarf car now. Mitchell, say hi, Mitchell.
How's it going?
Mitchell is working on it with his crew chief that's come on board. So, Jack, what's going on over here?
I'm just breaking these. I'm trying to get these loose.
Trying to get them loose?
Yeah.
So you guys are stripping the car down, going right through everything, freshening everything up, get it ready to go racing. Jack's working on the front suspension. Mitchell is labeling parts. A lot of work on both sides. We'll check back with them in a little bit. Right now I got to get things set up. We did have some little bit of problem with the template that we made. So we made the dash out of cardboard first. Then Ryan took it to his work and made the holes where we wanted them and cut the piece out. Problem is when we come to put it in here, we missed this little mounting point here for the hood, and right here for the hood, and we also missed that it gets smaller as it goes down, so we have to take some metal off it. So I took our template and I cut the template to compensate for these things, and obviously that was a little bit sloppy here, but that gets me the starting point and kind of the end point as to what we need on both sides. So now what I'll do is go over this, set that up, mark these points out, and we'll trim the dash to match this. How's Jack making out over there?
Almost done.
Got everything loose. We're just stripping apart the whole left front suspension, trying to get everything apart. We did the right front. That was like one of the first things we did that weeks ago. Just neglected to do the opposing side, so that's what we're doing now.
And Ryan pointed out that when the template was made, we did it from the inside of the car. So this whole mess is my error. Yeah, come that way a little bit more. Try to center it. Yeah.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be good. So now we got to get in the car, and I'll hold this. Let's trace it with the silver Sharpie where we want it, and then we'll cut a 1/2 inch all the way around.
Perfect.
From the inside of the car. Yep. All right, cool.
You're just looking to get another vehicle.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know.
He's getting
I
tired.
pissed him off. I was like, so the Ford Focus that's reliable for the money that you pay for, it's not really working out, is it, buddy?
Yeah.
He's like, fuck off.
Well, yeah. Threw a big fat turbo in it. Yeah, we do have to get the bolt out. I'm working on it. Oh, use the. Never mind.
On this?
Were these?
So we had the lights that we did for the dash. So we're gonna have warning lights for both water and oil. So at 20 pounds, it's gonna turn, the red light gonna come on. I have the sensors and everything to hook everything up. We still have to put our start button on the dash. So watching another YouTube channel, the red light for the warning for the oil, they just put a red bulb in the gauge. So, and then hook the sending unit to it that we're gonna put in for the oil warning, so that if the oil pressure on the gauge, if the oil pressure goes below 20, if we put the red bulb on the back, the gauge will go red. So the driver can see just that, he's got low oil pressure with the gauge going, the light comes on and goes red. So that's gonna open up a hole where now we'll move this over to here, to right here. This one will go here for the water warning light that we're gonna hook to the gauge. And now we'll put the start button back pretty close to right where it was before. So the start button will go in this hole here. So I'm starting to dig that stuff out over here. We're gonna have to cut some of the wires. We got the box clearance to cover up our mess up here on the dash, more stuff. We actually decided that this is going to stay here. I was going to move it so that we could put the fuel on off in, but we've mounted the fuel on off right here. So modified the old plate and just riveted it in. I'll be able to make the hoses go through the bulkheads. So we're utilizing the holes. So right now, everything's where it needs to be for practicality purposes. Where's the steering wheel? With the steering wheel on, the driver has clear sight of the oil pressure gauge, most sight of the lambda gauge, and the water temp, but the water temp light is visible. So if that comes on, most of our races are at night. And then, like I said, I'm gonna wire in a red bulb for the gauge and do that to the sensor. It's a little busier than I wanted it, but it's still nice and neat and allows the driver to be able to get to everything he needs to get to. Obviously, the only thing would be the start button, but if we get to that point, that's going to be under caution anyway. So everything else he'd be able to, all the emergency things that he needs to get to, he can get to, or I can get to. I can get to this anyways because my gorilla arms. But we've pretty much dummied a lot of the stuff up in here. Going to be to do a final fit on all the bulkheads, and I'm going to have to make a lot of the hoses. These are the push lock fittings here. I'm going over to make sure we have all aluminum fittings on it, but with push lock hose, it's that simple. It's you push it in place and it'll stay and not come off. But I also have some higher pressure areas where we're going to run braided hose, and that takes a little bit to do. So you'll get to watch that as I try to piece all that together and make the fittings and cut the hose. So final dummy up of the all the lines in the cockpit and everything, so we can really start getting this thing back together. I liked where our fuel shutoff went in place here. So that's going to be there with two bulkheads through the thing. That's a change from last year. We really neatened up the cockpit, a lot more space. If you can see on the other side, I made the first push lock line real easy. Boom, boom. Took a 90 off of there, went with a straight fitting. That one's easy enough. Right now, inside the car, just doesn't want to start. So I'm just not holding it getting it to the right angle for it to start. And when I ordered all the fittings online, I thought about getting a 120 fitting, which would probably work, be able to get on here without a problem just fine. The issue with the 120 is the more I introduce more angles, 90s, and radical bends into the system, an additional fuel line, it gets our fuel settings further off from where we had them. So it'll, if I have to, I have to, but that means we'll probably end up having to change the pills, which we showed in an earlier video. Right now I'm trying to keep it so that we could be pretty close to what we need, but that may not work out. When in doubt, just pull the thing out and start it. I said,
Oh,
no. Just like the new Coming to America movie, we keep it PG even if it ruins the content. So I guess instead of just messing around for the past 40 minutes, I could have just taken these 2 screws off, spent the 30 seconds. So I went on Speedway Motors and I bought this little hose cutter so that basically I can put my hose in straight here, have it perfectly straight, and now I have a perfectly straight across thing. So that's definitely it was only a $30 buy, and that's definitely a huge difference. This is where our old return line was, back to the radiator. And like I said, this is the setup that's in there right now. Obviously tight quarters right here. We want to go to a thermostat housing. So I did find a housing online that was aluminum, that has the thermostat in it right here. So you can see that will bolt in there, but obviously everything we do with the midget is custom setup. So this goes on here like this, and Ryan already fabricated the end, changed it out from what it is. We cut off the end here and cap the back. We're going to move that line, and we'll be able to put a fitting on here to be able to do it. I want to be able to get at this without pulling the motor. So what Ryan and I had to do was take the old one out, and I'll show you my my bag of tricks. I cut an Allen wrench down so that I could stick in to the to all the bolt holes to be able to do it. The bolts on this one obviously are going to be a lot longer and further out, so we were concerned about being able to even use that tool. So what I'll show you, what we did was, if you go in through the car right through here, we figured out exactly where the hole was, and we drilled a hole here and one up here that will allow us to get at those bolts. Now obviously I don't want to have a hole in the firewall. What we're going to do is, obviously the upper one we could put tape over or a rubber grommet over it just to cap it. That's the fiberglass, but we're going to tap the firewall so that we can just put a little pipe plug in it, so that just put a plug in there, so you know it'll be in there flush, and if we need to get in there, it's just a matter of taking the Allen out and being able to access the bolts. All right, so today we did quite a bit here. I have one hose left to make where I didn't have the right fitting for the end of it. So this is a water line that runs to the thermostat housing that we set up. I bought a 180 for here. I've got to get some more push lock hose. I'm out of it. This is just a hair short, and I'll take the time to get a new aluminum push lock fitting for this anyway. So that'll be on my list of stuff to order. Spent quite a few hours making hoses today. Definitely won't need to do that next week. Try to get that all done. Then we'll go after the axle, do the cockpit. I've got to put new belts in it, redo the torque tube stuff here, decide what we're going to do with that, whether we're going to go with a longer torque tube here, or we're going to stay with this setup here, where we've got it spaced out about 1/4 of an inch. But we're going to finish up all that stuff, and we really got to start getting the car wrapped up and ready to go to Thompson Speedway to the icebreaker on April 9th. So don't forget to subscribe to the Hometrack channel, like the video, share it with all your friends, and we'll see you next time.